U.S. Bank brings us stories each week of inspirational athletes who amaze us in all sorts of ways.
Courtney Tate has the story of two longtime coaching brothers, their love for each other and for their players.
Sports aren't the only connection between the two baseball coaching brothers here at Lincoln High School. The two are now connected physically due to one life-saving moment.
We used to play catch and play ball, and he'd watch the games with me. And even when I went to college, of course, he was now in elementary school, so I, followed him, and I just marveled at his love for sports.
Head coach Stuart Piraro attributes his love for sports to the influence his older brother had on him growing up.
He kind of played the role of big brother, but also kind of like a second father in a way.
Coach Stu grew up with the physical challenge of only having one hand. His older brother Sam always admires Stu's ability to play through adversity.
That never, ever intimidated him at any point. I marveled as I watched him go about his business.
Both brothers would end up having successful baseball careers playing through high school, college, and for Sam, coaching at the collegiate level. But a health scare for older brother Sam was something no one ever expected.
I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2002. I was 50 years old and in the prime of my coaching career, and so it was a very, very difficult diagnosis for our family.
In fact, doctors gave Coach Sam just 5 more years to live.
I'd be lying to you if I didn't sit there at night occasionally crying, just breaking down and crying because, knowing that I might not be around to see my daughter get married or my son go on and do anything. Those things, shortchanging my wife, those things would lead me to tears.
But like most athletes, sports taught this family how to fight. And when Coach Stu found out he could potentially save his brother's life through a bone marrow transplant, he did it without question.
Of course not, no. No, it was a very small price to pay.
Now, 20 years later, Coach Sam is said to be a walking miracle thanks to the selfless sacrifice from his younger brother.
I have his bone marrow in me. And so, he saved his big brother.
As Coach Sam's thanks to Coach Stu, he's on the field every single day, serving as his coaching counterpart for the Lincoln High School baseball team.
So I feel I owe him a lot. So this coaching thing for me, coming here to help him, is in some very small way of repaying him.
Together, the Piraro brothers are teaching the same qualities in sports and life to their players, who know very well how fortunate they are to have the two fine coaches at their school.
Definitely by far the most intellectual, just smart coaches I've ever had. They know every little detail about any type of point in baseball they want to make. Very helpful.
Sam and Stu were looking forward to coaching together last season, but they only got a few games in before the pandemic canceled the rest. Now they're back together coaching this season and are happy to be back.
Thank you, Courtney. The Lions are off to a 2-0 start and looking good so far this season.
Yeah, and those players know how lucky they are to have both Stu and Sam, two really experienced coaches with their team this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're looking good. All right, Wingstop.